Welcome back to the School Hour CEO podcast. I'm your host, as always, Danielle Gray, and today's guest proves that no matter how niche your business is, when you get clear on your mission, your boundaries, and your ideal client, everything changes. So I'm so excited to introduce you to Karen Fisher, founder of the Grooming Goddess Academy. She is a business coach and mentor for female dog groomers across the UK. She's also been gracing the cover of Total Grooming magazine this month, and she'll be speaking at the Pet Pro Expo later this year, which is the UK's first ever business-focused event for pet professionals. So this is super exciting. And in this episode, Karen shares how she built her business with no family support nearby, a partner who works abroad, and a full plate, and how boundaries, intentional time management, and clear messaging helped her turn her passion into a profitable online membership. So even if you're not a dog groomer, you're going to take so much from this episode. So I hope you'll stick around, especially if you've ever felt like you're doing all of it on your own and wondering how to make it all work. So Karen, I am so excited to have you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for an introduction. That was brilliant.
You're very welcome.
You great. Thank you.
Of course. I'm happy to be in your circle. I'm so impressed by you. So you've built a thriving business in a super specific niche. So,
yeah.
And we hear about niching a lot, but I would really love to hear from you. So how did the Grooming Goddess Academy come to life, and who is it for?
Yeah. So to be honest, my niche came before my business. I'll be honest. I've been a dog groomer for 16 years. And I'd never really thought about coaching it or the business side of it, even though when I look back, I want to slap myself in the face because I really should have done, because I had all the skills.
Right.
So I'd studied for a maths degree. I'd used to teach customer service in the aviation industry. I obviously then became a groomer. So I had so many past skills. And it wasn't until I started an Instagram page, maybe, 2023-ish. And I just started chatting on my Instagram to other groomers about business tips and marketing tips and how to speak to customers, just things that I saw as day-to-day, just part of running a dog grooming business. And it just took off. The traction was nuts. I think because I wasn't afraid to kind of just say what I thought and be original. A lot of groomers share styling tips for dogs, which is great. Whereas I was very much the business side of it. And it just took off. And I found that people were asking me a lot of the same questions in my DMs. A lot of people were saying, how do you do this? And how do you attract clients? And how do you talk about this situation? And so I thought in the end, this is taking me so much time for what's essentially a social media account that I'm getting literally no money for. I need to start thinking about the bigger picture here. What can I do? And my friends, and obviously we're going, you need to monetize this, monetize it. And so it was I think I'd reached about 7,000 followers in a few months, and I just couldn't keep up. So that's when I started thinking about, right, what the heck do I do monetize wise? Do I do an online course? Do I do a membership? Do I do a group coaching program? And the sensible side of me was like, you've got 2 kids at home, you haven't got much support. Do an online course, make it a passive income, create it, and then just sell the thing. Don't worry about it. But then the person inside of me, the deep down person, was going, well, actually, a membership would make so much more sense, because these women, you know their struggles, and you know that an online course, if you're not kind of in a position to want to improve your business, many people buy an online course and they never actually get to that last module. They never actually finish it, and they never actually implement the changes that you put in that course. And that's not what I wanted to do. I had never started for the money. It was an Instagram page, and therefore the online course just didn't align with the transformation I wanted to help people. I wanted to make people feel part of a community, feel supported, feel like someone who just gets it. And hence I started the Grooming Goddess Academy membership, and we launched on the 7th of January of this year, 2025. And I'm now 5 months, and it's now, we're recording this in June, aren't we? And we've got just under 100 members, which is great. And it's all for women, because I like to be very honest about the fact, as women, which obviously this is why I'm on this podcast, we juggle so many things. It's not a case of working 9 hours a day, 5 days a week, bish, bash, bosh. It is a case of juggling so many plates and still helping these women to become successful dog grooming business owners. That was my aim anyway.
Yeah, no, I love that so much. And you're right. I mean, we've talked about this before, and we've talked about it in past episodes and future episodes. And it's something we'll talk about probably until we're no longer mothers, which is, the end of our lives, because there is a huge, unseen mental load at the very least that comes with being a mom, right? We're keeping track of what's in the pantry and what's running low in the sink or in the fridge, and what's piling up in the sink, and when did we wash the bed sheets last, and when is the next practice, and when do I have to be at the school to volunteer for this thing. And it's all things that I don't think any of us hate doing.
You can't anticipate it.
Right.
You see motherhood and you think, oh yeah, be fine, I can do that. You get told you can have it all, and yes you can, but not in the way you think. Something has to give sometimes, and you've got to be so honest with yourself.
I think the key is really just being flexible and understanding. And I had this conversation actually yesterday with a client of mine, because I said, what if we just redefine what success means and looks like, right? Because a lot of the women that and I said this in a previous episode, I think too, or maybe I just said it to myself, I don't know. But I was thinking about, how when I started my business, I was learning from women who were very successful. But what I didn't realize at the time, or I didn't connect the dots with, is they don't have children. Some of them weren't even married, right? So it's like and not to say that it's better or worse or anything. It's just, we have much different perspective and perspectives. Let me finish my sentence. I'm cutting myself off. We have, different perspectives, but also, not to say that I don't eventually want to have, any number of things, but right now what I want looks very different from what these girls, yachting around in the south of France are doing, because it's like, that's great. I love that for you. And it's not to say that I don't want to do that, but at the same time, I also love being within a 7-minute walking distance to my son's school. I love being able to volunteer. I love being able to drop everything and take him, dry pants if he needs. I love being a mom. I love being a mom. And we need to spend more time honoring the fact that we are moms, and our priorities are not the same as some of the people we see online. So we should not be comparing our success to theirs either, right?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, but when saying that we can have it all, but I think our all is just different. Right. We can have it all, but our all is not the same all that we necessarily see on Instagram or we see elsewhere. My all is, like you say, is being with the kids at meal times. It's going to football on a Saturday morning. It's taking my daughter to wherever she needs to go. It's taking my son to scout camp. That is my all. Whereas some people say you can have it all, and you automatically think you should be having this 6-figure business, and you should be in a high-end office, and you should have 1 million Instagram followers, and that's not my all at the moment, but my all will change as my kids grow, and it just does. But that's having it all. But I think that self-acknowledgement and that ability to actually realize that, hey, you know what, I'm doing all right here, that's just a massive game changer, because constantly comparing yourself to a standard, a yardstick that just ain't you, there's no point in that, because you will never ever meet up to those standards of someone else. I think getting very truthful with yourself, peeling back all the layers and realizing what your success is, that is when you realize sometimes how close you really are.
Well, that's just it. Yeah. And I think the problem is, and this is kind of a funny analogy that just came to me, but I think a lot of us are trying to, essentially we're baking a pizza with pie instructions, right? And it's like, you're operating on different frequencies, right? Like these women who don't have the kids, or the business coaches who are telling you to follow their strategy, but they don't have kids, or they're not the mom, or the wife or whatever. They're well-intentioned and their strategies work and it all works.
Yeah, of course. It's just they're just not the same as you. That's why I think we all have our internal filter, don't we? When we follow people like coaches or online mentors, and we put them through this filter of what applies to our values. And for me, initially, being a female does help, but I mean, we both are BBD people from James Wedmore, so we know that it is not essential. Right. At the same time, just the values, like the James Wedmore, with these woo, that's us. And I think you put people through these filters. So for me, often it's mothers, it's women, it's the certain values of life, and you go through, and the more they fit through the filter, what you're left with at the end is people that you align with and you follow and you take advice from. And if you could put people through a filter and that, actually, I don't agree with that, I'm not that, they can move to one side because they're for someone else. They're perfectly valid. They have just as much value, just not for necessarily us to follow. It's just for someone else. Everyone out there has their own value, their own merit, but not everyone is right for everyone else to follow or learn from.
Right. And then I think if we are, like you're saying about the measuring stick, like this conversation yesterday I was having, I said, well, what if we just decide that, the goal is to just feel this way about the way I showed up today. And if you were showing up like that 51% or more today, and tomorrow maybe it's 52%, we're just working on becoming 1% better every day. Like if you could spend the majority of your day feeling good about what you're doing, and that's what you and I were doing together previously was, working backwards. What is the vision for you specifically? And then working backwards, and then, okay, how does this fit into my life? What are my timelines? What feels good? Because also, there's a lot of strategies and suggestions and ways you can do things out there, and they all work. The key is to find what works for you in the way that you want. Like Karen, my business is fully online. Yours is in person and online. So that I'm sure comes with its whole own.
Yeah, I'm still kind of spinning the two at the moment. I'm still in the salon 2 days a week, which is, it kind of works good for me. And then the rest of the time I'm in obviously the office membership. But yeah, at the moment in the salon, it's good for content creation for people that obviously sometimes need dogs for my content, even though it's about business. We do obviously sometimes just talk about the dogs and things. Also for me mentally, I was very lucky that I went to dog grooming because I thoroughly enjoyed it. So for me, if I had 3 days in the office or 3 days plus evenings or something in the office, I quite like going in the salon, and that's my time just with the dogs, and there's no makeup, the hair's frizzy, I don't care. But again, that's my time where I often consume podcasts, or I even just listen to solfeggio or classical music, and that's when I have to have a notepad in the salon because, oh my word, the amount of ideas I suddenly come up with for the membership. And I'm like, oh, I want to be in the office and do this, but I'm not. I'm in the salon with a dog. So it kind of works well for me because it balances out. So my membership days in the office are my create time, my kind of communicate time, my Zoom meetings, my coaching. Whereas my 2 days in my salon, for me, is kind of the time when I consume any content I want to consume. And I also think of ideas, because it's mad what you can think of when you're bathing a dog. It's amazing. And that's kind of the way I've found it works for me. So I didn't, as much as the membership is taking off and it's getting to a stage where I could possibly not be in the salon, I don't think that's not me. It doesn't align with the reason I start this membership was for other groomers. And I think if I stepped away from that environment, I think I'd lose a connection there. And I think I would also sacrifice something that I really value. So I'm with my ladies, I'm with my members. We are all groomers, and I'm going to stick being a groomer. Even if that goes down to 1 day a week, eventually that's fine. But I'm never going to leave that salon. I love that dog hair.
Well, and that's good for you, right? That's, this is, I talk a lot about the importance of having hobbies and things we do for ourselves and things that are not related to our business. And the first time I really remember realizing that this was important was when I kind of accidentally picked up rock painting when I was living in Nicaragua. It was totally by accident. I needed Christmas decorations, and I didn't want to go and buy a whole bunch of stuff I needed to store or that could get moldy.
Was that in 2020 when you did rock painting? Because that was a big thing in lockdown, wasn't it?
No, I started in 2022.
Okay, because in 2020 in the UK it went massive.
Oh, that's so funny. No, and there's tons of Facebook groups and stuff, but no, I took it up because I wanted to. I was like, well, if I paint Christmas rocks, like a Santa and a snowman or whatever, like then it's easy to, we store them, or just, it doesn't matter if they end up in the, jungle somewhere or whatever, like it doesn't matter. And it turned out that I really enjoyed it, and I was actually pretty good at it. And I just, and so while I was doing it, I would be listening to music or just listening to the jungle sounds, or I would be consuming a podcast or a masterclass or some series or something, coursework. And I had so many downloads, epiphanies, just time to do kind of inner reflection too. It was so great. So I love that you've notice that pattern in the days that you're in the salon. And I have a client who does it. She sews, and she says the same thing happens. She sews for fun. She makes, all her friends all her kids' little friends have, custom made little, sweatshirts or leggings or dresses or whatever by her. And it's like her thing. And she, it's the same thing. So it's just, these are the three examples of why it's so important to have. I mean, at least in your case, it's a paid hobby, right? That's great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's still a business in itself in a way, but yeah, it's great. It's like the whole shower thing. It's like you go in the shower and you come out with 10 new business ideas.
Yes.
It's a bit like that when you've got no distractions and you're not in front of your laptop. It's amazing. You go, oh yeah, I could do that. And I could do that. And I need the paper to write it down, because if not, it'd just be gone.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that for sure. No.
Yeah, it's great to have that balance of your consume time and your create time and your kind of chill time. And it's great to know how that works and how it fits into your week and into your diary, definitely.
Right. And knowing and backing up and knowing what's important to you, and the fact that being in the salon and grooming dogs and being with them is important to you. And it sounds like ultimately, if you were to cut that out totally, you would be cutting yourself off to a flow of creativity that would be, maybe otherwise.
Yeah, I think, and I've been doing it for so long, so many years. And I think part of the reason a lot of my members have joined me is because I still have a love for the industry. Because I think obviously some people, they go to coaching or go to teaching because they want to get out of the industry, maybe, or maybe they're never even groomers, I don't know. And they don't have that kind of that connection to what it's really like to still stand in front of a dog owner and talk about their dog, what it's really like to have a dog that's not behaving that day. And I think if I stepped away from the salon, I think I would slowly lose that connection, and I would slowly lose that kind of, I don't know, there's something there I think would be lost. So for me, I still love grooming, and they follow me because of that, because I'm encouraging them to still love grooming and work on their businesses. So right. I think I'd be a hypocrite to not be a groomer and tell them to enjoy their dog grooming businesses when I go, well, you know what, don't need that, I'm going to coach now. I think I'd be a bit hypocritical if I did that, because I still think grooming is an amazing business model to have. And I encourage all women that are in it to just do the best in the business with it. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And so earlier when I was introducing you and we were talking, you said that, you built your business without much support and with your partner working abroad. So what did that actually look like, and how do you stay focused?
To be honest, ever since we've met, he's worked for an airline. So it's not like it's suddenly been a change of pace for us. We've always known his work schedule. We went into having kids because our eldest is 13. We've got a 13-year-old and a 7-year-old. So I've always known from deciding to become a mother that I wouldn't have his hands-on support all the time, because he works for an airline. He works abroad a lot of the time, and he also has his own business when he is back in the UK. So he's a very busy man, but he supports where he can, which is great. But in a way, for me, I think the fact that I've always relied on myself means that by now I know my boundaries. I know that I'm not going to have someone else to say, are you there that weekend? You're not there that weekend? I just assume, right, he's not here. So I make my plans around that and just assume he's not going to be helping. He's not going to be childcare because he'll be flying, he'll be away. So that kind of made it easier in a way that there was no grey area of, should I wait and see if he's around to have the kids, and then should I do it? And it was like, well, he won't be here, right? Who can have the kids, or what can I book? Or like my daughter's after school classes, she's quite luckily she's quite a sociable little girl, so she loves after school classes. So I've often got till 4:30 or 5 p.m. some evenings now rather than 3:15 to get for these after school classes, and that is when I know I can work till. And I know full well he will not be able to pick up from school because he's never here. So I plan my day very structured around that, because family wise, unfortunately, his parents both died many years ago and he's an only child. So my other half, there's no family on his side. My side, the family I do have live 300 miles away, and unfortunately my mum has quite advanced Alzheimer's, so we have literally, it is me or me with regard to childcare, or I pay for it. So in a way it's made it easier. I do sometimes I'm not going to lie, I get a bit jealous when I've got friends that go, yeah, they're off to the grandparents on Sunday, we're doing this, we're doing that, or they're off to auntie, whatever's. And of course you get a little bit jealous. Of course you kind of a little bit, well, I've never had a grandparent day, but but it's fine, because in a way it's my relationship with my kids is stronger for it, because we have loads of days out. We've even, as you know, you saw in February, I took them away by myself to the Canary Islands, just me and the kids, which was a bit of again, that was a kind of a milestone for me, mindset wise, to say that I booked, paid for, and took the kids on a holiday completely independently. He had literally no input whatsoever financially or in it, because he was away at the time somewhere else. So it was a really nice holiday. I'm not gonna, don't get me wrong, it would have been great if he was there, but at the same time, it was a bit of a milestone as a mum to like go, you know what, yeah, I can do this. I can manage with them both, and it was really nice. So it's been, not that I wouldn't have liked some help, but I'm not complaining that I haven't had it, because in a way it's given me so much more as well. It's made me the person I am, to literally rely on myself the way I have done. And I'm not someone that blows on to it, but I'm proud of the way they're quite good kids. They have the moments. I've got a 13-year-old that started to grunt lately and not talk much, but that's the age. But in general, they're really good kids. So I'm really proud of them.
Well, you should be very proud of yourself too. That's a lot, you're basically operating as a single parent.
Yeah.
And with, like you say, zero support, no aunts, no uncles, no grandparents.
And without the alternative weekends.
Right, exactly. You can't even get rid of them once in a while.
I'm like, yeah, but he doesn't have them every weekend, does he though?
Yeah.
The advantage of that one.
It's just always me. So that's a lot. That's a lot to we talk about the mental load of mums, and that's, on top of it, you can't even, at least they are getting older, but it's, but now, right? But by now you're also very good at setting the boundaries and managing your time and planning. And so obviously time management and planning are essential.
Yes.
Right. So what are your go-to systems or rhythms that help you stay on track as a mom and a business owner?
Okay. Well, my first one, I'll be honest, this is credit to you. We chatted about this back in December of last year. And I remember saying to you that in the evenings, come like 8 p.m. when youngest is in bed, I sit down to my laptop, because I was like just pre-launch at the time. And my mind is like mush. And even to just write one piece of content or one paragraph, it takes me so long, because I'm like, my mind just had so many things the day. It wants to go down, not up. And you suggested getting up earlier in the morning before she gets up and doing the work. And at first I was swearing at you, going, oh my God, come on, Danielle.
I don't want to do that. Don't make me do that. Yeah.
But you know what? I did. And it was like the depths of winter back then. It was dark mornings. It was cold. It was miserable. But my God, it works. So I get up and I get a quick cup of tea, be in my dressing gown, and I'd be at my laptop by like 5:45, 6 a.m. And it really worked. And I had that good solid hour. And what I could get done in that hour pre the kids getting up and getting ready for school was like 10 times more productive than what I could do between, say, 8 and 9 p.m. at night.
Right.
Because it's just, your mind is not in the same framework at all. So that was one of my top tips, basically. I've written notes here. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to go through it. But yeah, just knowing when you've got the energy. And also as a woman, I think, we talk about hormones, can't we?
Right.
Once a month, I ain't in the mood.
Right.
I'm not in the mood to do a lot of creativity. So I make sure that I try and get with regards to like my lesson plannings and my content planning. It's pretty much done in like 3 weeks of the month. And the other week of that month, I tend to just leave for things like booking Zooms where someone will present the membership. Like someone will present their software or present a masterclass to the membership, or I just need to do some emails, or maybe I just need to create a couple of templates for membership. But anything with regards to like doing my own masterclasses or my own lessons, I probably have a week a month where I just don't bother, because I know it'll take me 10 times longer. And I know I'll be looking at myself on the camera afterwards going, well, I look rubbish, that I'll have to retake that one. Or I'll say, oh, I fumbled my words in that lesson, I'll have to refilm the whole 20-minute piece. So I know full well, like for probably a few days a month, that's what I'm like. So I just leave those few days a month for just doing the 1,000 other things I can do in the business.
I love that. That's so important that the mums listening are listening, because this is part of my mom method, right? This is part of the master piece of mom is knowing your own energy, knowing your own boundaries, setting boundaries with yourself around, okay, no, I'm like, why would I fool myself, set myself up for failure by scheduling something that I know I'm not going to be in the right energy to do? And like you say, when you are in the right energy to do it, it flows better. You can channel better messages. I mean, I've done trainings where I swear I don't even know, like I'm talking, but it's coming through me. It's not really me. I mean, it is me talking, but the ideas are kind of just, I don't know, like I'm inspired to say.
You get to the end of it, you think, what did I just say? You look back and go, actually, that was really good. How did I do that?
What? This is like,
because some days we can be so on the ball,
right.
And it just flows and it's fantastic. Other days, you're putting your teeth back in because you just nothing's coming out right, and you're there going to chat GPT. How do I rephrase this?
Yeah, what is going on?
Use the power of speech and writing. Whereas I'm so I love to create my own content and be authentic, and I just know it. Sometimes I can't do that, so I just give myself a rest that day or that week.
Well, and this is why it's important to know yourself and to have these boundaries, and to, and I would imagine and I mean, there are coaches who literally train you on how to work with your cycle and how to spot the patterns and how to know. I mean, and you can start doing it yourself. You just start keeping track on the calendar of what days this month was I really productive? What days was I not productive? And you will find a pattern. You will see every 4 weeks you feel this way, and every 4 weeks you feel this way, and every 4 weeks you feel this way.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the time of day too. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because I learned this the hard way too, which is why I was able to share it with you, was because I used to try to get everything else in the day done and then squeeze my business into whatever I had left in the day. But the problem is, by the end of the day, and this at this point in my journey for me, my son was like 2 and 3 years old.
Yeah.
So and for those of you who know human design, he's a generator and I'm a manifester. So already he's got way more energy than I do. So for me to try to conserve energy for the end of the day makes no sense, right? Because, and like I shared with you, Karen, when we were talking originally, I've heard multiple places that you only have the capacity to make about 20 good decisions in a single day. And so when I learned this, I had gone back to work for a 40-hour-a-week job. And I thought, well, there is no way I'm going to use all my good decisions on somebody else's business, my boss's business, and then have what's left for me at the very end of the day. Like, no. So I started getting up earlier. And the second thing that I noticed was happening in me and a couple of my clients too, is we would leave it to the end of the day. But then while I was putting my son to bed, I would fall asleep, or I would stay awake, but I would be so tired that there's no way I'm going to go hop back into production mode now that I'm, and it just didn't make sense. So as much as getting up at, 4:30 in the morning for me was the time, or, 6 or whatever time you're getting up, as much as that's not fun and it doesn't sound like a good idea, nope. really though, for me, what it came down to was just making sure I was getting enough sleep. Because really the time you get up is not the time that matters. It's the time you go to bed that makes the difference, right? Because you want to make sure you get enough sleep, because there are people, who are on the news, they've got to be in the newsroom at like 2-3 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Back in my aviation days, I used to check in for flights at like 3 a.m, but I'd go to bed at 7 p.m.
Right.
So obviously as a parent, you can't really do that if your kids are still up, but you find a rhythm. But like you say, as long as you get the sleep, it works. You just can't burn a candle at both ends, which is the old saying, isn't it? You can't be up till midnight and then get up at 5, because you are going to be tired the next day. But as long as you have a fairly good bedtime, I think it can work. But and it also is routine. I mean, that first week I was cursing you for getting me up at that time morning, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm doing this. But then, do you know what, I started to thoroughly enjoy that me time, just me in the morning. And I think I read somewhere about somebody that sits outside no matter what the weather. This woman lives, I think she lives in Canada, sits outside no matter what the weather throughout the year for 10 minutes at the start of each day. So even in her dressing gown in the winter, with a cup of coffee and just her, and listens to the birds waking up. And I thought, what a lovely idea. So I started doing that a little bit. I must admit, I've kind of dropped it lately, but it's amazing. It's just so nice just to, because as long as the neighbours aren't kind of watching from the background, so I'm sat in my pajamas in the back garden, but it's really nice. And it's just, you start your day and your thoughts are clear. You kind of, you goals for the day suddenly become so clear of what is actually the priority. Because if not, you'll have 10,000 goals, but you suddenly think, right, I need to do this, this, and this day. You're done. And it's great. And then you can come in, do an hour's work. Then the kids get up. And by the time they go to school, you feel like you've been really productive. And it's great. It honestly was a great tip for me with my energy levels. The early morning thing is brilliant. It's much easier in the summer, I must admit, because it's like light evenings, light mornings. But even in the winter, it was kind of a cozy kind of, just me time kind of vibe with it.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, it comes down to perspective too, right? Like kind of how badly do you want it and how badly do you want this to work for you? But what I found too was, and this is going to sound some type of way, and I don't mean it like this, but when I was doing this, I was working full time, right? So by the time I got to work, I had already been up for so many hours. I had already done all these things in my business. I already felt, so I think part of why it works just simply is because it builds your own confidence in yourself that you're doing this thing that the other people around you, and it's not about comparing. I don't mean it like that, but it does, you're like, these guys, I just, I'm late for work because my alarm didn't go off, or this guy just rolls and he woke up, came to work. And it's like, I've been up for 2-3 hours. I've had coffee. I've got this done. I've got, I checked these things off my to-do list already. I made this decision. I posted this thing. I finished this, landing page or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was kind of extra fun for me because the people at work didn't know that I had this business. So I wasn't talking about it really. So it was like just this like secret thing that I had. So it was
yeah.
kind of funny. But
you keep it quiet for so long because you kind of don't want to admit that you've got a dream, that you've got a goal, and that you are committed to something that other people might fail at, but you're going to do it. So I kept it quiet from my partner for about a year before I launched, because I'd done the Instagram page.
Right.
He obviously didn't follow because it was a separate Instagram page. He wasn't following, right. He didn't know it existed. And I think it wasn't until March of last year that I said, look, I've got this Instagram page I've been doing for a few months, and it's kind of took off, and it's kind of got a few followers. He went, how many? And I went, about 6,500. And he was like, oh, okay. And then it was like, obviously, which it was massive to me at the time. I know it's everyone's got different views of what's big and what's not. And I was like, I think I'm gonna monetize it. And he was like, oh, okay. But then I kind of kept quiet again, because otherwise people ask you, what you're doing now? Have you got this yet? Yeah, have you got a website yet? Have you got this yet? And so I went back to being quiet about it, and in the background worked my ass off basically until the launch in January. So it was a lot of behind the scenes, but like you say, you can kind of say to yourself, I'm committed, I'm doing this, because in your head, that you've put so much work into something, and that the things people learn behind online businesses is nuts. I mean, the email sequences, and like you say, the sales page creation, and the links, and the launch, and the webinars, and it's all the lead magnets, all these words that you might not have known existed 5-6 years ago,
right?
Suddenly like second language to you, and it's just all makes sense. And it's a really nice feeling to go on that journey and come out the other side and feel quite confident about what you're doing. And that to me was just such a confidence boost, really.
Absolutely, because it is really, I mean, for most of us, it's a real solopreneur journey, right? Yeah. You're the CEO, you're the CFO, you're the content creator, you're the VA, you're the copywriter, you're
social media, you're everything. Yeah,
you're everything. And so you have to, like you say, not only are you still balancing all of the things you were already balancing as a wife and mom, but now you're learning all these things and learning the tech side. And I mean, yes, you can outsource all of these things, and I think a lot of us should probably start outsourcing sooner than we do. Yeah. And that's something I'll talk about in a future episode, is how to properly think about doing that, because it's not as scary as it sounds.
I've got an amazing VA, just saying, she's absolutely amazing.
Yes, I've got a couple of
VAs.
No, they're great. I've got a few myself, and they are phenomenal. It's so nice to be able to outsource things and really look at something and go, is this worth what it's likely going to cost me to have somebody else do it to me, to do it myself? No, I'm just going to have, like, it's easier. So but so obviously throughout this whole process, you've become a leader in your industry. I mean, you're literally on the cover of a top trade magazine.
The June edition of Total Groom magazine. It's been and I've got asked, actually yesterday, since I've spoken to you last, I've got asked to do a seminar at a grooming competition called Master Groom in the UK. So I'm doing a seminar next month. I was like, next month? Oh my goodness. So yeah, I've got it's all happening. It's great. It's really good.
This is amazing. So how did you get comfortable, being visible and owning your success?
Who says I am?
Well, okay, that's fair.
No, do you know what? I think, is it an age thing? Maybe you get to, I mean, I'm 44, and I think I've just got to the stage where I think I have no more to give. I don't care what people think of me. I get one life. I do think I'll go a bit personal for a second here. My mum getting Alzheimer's, to me, proved that life is freaking short. I mean, she's only in her mid-70s, like, well, 77, and she's had Alzheimer's for 10 years, and it's now very advanced that she doesn't know who any of us are. And I thought, if I've got 20 years left of mental capacity, I'm going to freaking well use them. I'm going to make an impact in the world, and I'm going to give my kids something to be proud of. Not that they weren't proud of me being a dog groomer, because I'm not saying that. I still had a really great business as a dog groomer, hence why I'm now coaching it. But I just thought, I had people asking me for help, and I thought, I'm daft not to, because so many women felt alone. Because there's a lot of in the UK, there's a lot of dog groomers work alone, either from home or from sheds or from whatever. And I thought that just, if I can help people not feel alone, if I can help people in their business and not burn out in 5 years, I need to do that. And it's something I enjoy doing it. And the more I did it, the more I was like, I really enjoy doing it. And yeah, it was just, I've forgotten the question already now. But yeah, I think it was that. I think it was the fact I found I enjoyed it, and I found I was no longer scared of making mistakes. And I think, you know how they hear that phrase about throwing spaghetti against a wall and seeing what sticks? I think you've got to get comfortable with that phrase for a bit. I think you've got to just realize that that's okay. You can do an Instagram reel and it might get 0 likes and 0 followers and just completely bomb. And it doesn't matter, because no one's really caring about you. And remember, in the big world of things, no one cares more than you do. You could put all the people in the world in a room that care more about your business and your kids and your bills and your mortgage than you do, and the room's empty, because no one does. So you might as well just go for it in life. It's my mission now, because you don't know what's going to happen in the future. Always putting things off, I think, until after the kids have started school, or after they've started high school, or maybe after they've gone to this next phase. Okay, but start something towards it. Start one little thing, like planning something. You don't have to necessarily go for the full shebang straight off, but start steering your path towards what you really want. And it's amazing how it will fuel your self-worth as well, because you know that you're working towards something bigger, basically. I'm sorry.
Oh my, that was so beautiful. No, that was so beautiful. And you know what else? You really got me thinking about the importance of following your own nudges, following your passions, and following where you obviously already are being guided to go, right? So many women that I talk to me, like, one of my superpowers is I can see through somebody's story. I can listen between the lines, and I can pick out all of the ways that they could, you know, essentially, to simplify it, monetize what they've already been through, what they know, and how they're already helping people, right? Like, so many, I mean, not everybody is geared for entrepreneurship. That's unfortunately a truth. But I think everybody listening to this particular episode, or this podcast in general, are going to be entrepreneurial inclined. They're going to be people who are more than capable of just being a
solo. Sometimes, mums that they love the kids to bits, and but at the same time, you want more than just to push the swing in the park every day. You just you love that, but when you go home, you also want to do something that it's like you've achieved something. Like, I loved my kids being little; it was amazing. But I did have this kind of gap, whereas I'd get to the end of the day, and I kind of like, well, what have I kind of done apart from introduced weaning or gone to baby music class? And that was lovely, and it's a precious time in your life that, my God, they grow up fast. But at the same time, you lose yourself for a little bit there. You lose that person that you were before you had kids, because your day isn't marked by, I don't know, it's just different, I think, as a mother. I can't describe what I mean by that, but yeah.
No, but I'm with you, because, you know, I was the same. I was a diehard employee. Like, when my husband and I got together, he was self-employed. I thought, that is crazy. Why would you do that to yourself? That's so stressful, you know, the whole thing. Because I was plugged into the system, man. Okay. So, but then I went on maternity leave, and we were looking at childcare, and my wage at the time was only going to net me about $200 a month.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, that's stupid. I'm not going to, and the job that I was at, I wasn't really happy there anyway, because whatever, it doesn't matter. So I was like, there's no point there's no point. I'll stay home. So my husband and I decided, you know what, stay home until our son's in kindergarten, when he's in school full time. And, you know, and my husband said to me, you know, when you do go back to work, if you go back to work, you know, I really want you to find something that you really love. Cause I had jumped from kind of industry. I had decided different career paths and things.
Yeah.
And it just, I mean, I know why it all worked out the way it did now. But after about a year, I was like, you know, I love being a mom. I love my son more than anything in the entire freaking world. I love being his mom, but I was like, that's just not enough for me though. Like I need something else. I need something that's mine. I think that's why, well, I mean, I started my networking. I mean, I'm sorry. I started my entrepreneurship journey in network marketing. It was kind of the gateway drug for me. And I think it's a gateway drug for a lot of moms. I see it happening a lot because it's a very low barrier to entry. It's, you know, the investment is low. There's already a community usually built that kind of welcomes you in, and, you know, you're part of something. So that's, you know, really nice, especially when you're a mom, especially of just one kid and you're just home by yourself, only talking to this, you know, child all day. And it's like, I love talking to my child, but it's just not enough. Right. And that's where I followed the nudges too. But I
think it's hard. There's not many employment jobs that mothers can do around kids, is there? It's just,
no.
Unless you work in a school or education or a nursery, there's not many employment is going to give you the hours that you can choose for yourself as an entrepreneur. Right. And I think that's why so many mothers choose this path to try and fit around the kids. I did the math a few days ago actually about how many hours a full-time person would work like in a 40-hour week if they got like, is it 5 weeks holiday a year? And then how many hours a mum can actually work if he works, I think it's 38 weeks the kids are in school in the UK out of 52. And obviously between 9 and 3. And I think it was a deficit of hundreds of hours of
I believe it.
And so, I mean, that is why I think so many of us choose entrepreneurship, because we want to build something, we want to still achieve something, but the employment world doesn't often offer it, does it? It's very hard to get that.
Yeah, when we need something that support, I mean, because a lot of us moms don't want to just be working to pay for childcare. That doesn't
exactly. You know. You want to be, if you get a choice of money but not being with your kid, or no money but being with your kid, you're going to choose your kid every time, aren't you?
Right.
Completely.
Well, exactly. And I don't know, you know, I don't mean to, you know, bring light to the economy right now, but people need to be working, you know, like
people need money coming in, definitely.
You know, so yeah, like you say, it's kind of out of necessity a lot of the time, but we make it work, right?
Yeah, of course we do. Yeah. Obviously we have to make it work because the world is not geared up for working mothers. It's just not. So we have to make it work, and that's why I think so many women are doing so well to set up businesses. And and we can make it work. I think we can. The joy of entrepreneurship is that you can build a business in those hours between 9 and 3 around your kids that can be equivalent to what somebody working a 40-hour week can do, because they've got a glass ceiling, they've got a wage, they're not going to make more than that. Whereas in a business, there is no ceiling. You can make it what you want it to be. You can polish it and enhance it, can't you?
Right. And especially if you can find ways to, like you were saying, take what you're getting a lot of over and over again, the repetitive, you know, questions and things, and find a way to put it into something that's scalable, whether that's a book or a course or a membership or an audio. I mean, there's a plethora of ways that you can do it, but it just, if those are, I mean, and this is people even in their everyday life, if you get asked, if you're the person who's known for making the best flower arrangements at the parties, or you're the person who people go to for advice on parenting, or you're the person who people go to advice on for, I don't know, hairstyling, like you can monetize those skills, right? It's so, we just need to be more open-minded about what's available, because.
And also trust your gut and trust what you enjoy. I think the more you enjoy something, you'd be surprised the energy you don't realize you're giving off, and people will be attracted to it. I think if somebody was to say, step into either of our roles and say exactly the same words at exactly the same time, because they haven't got the energy behind it, because they haven't got the passion behind that business, it wouldn't stick the same. So if you really enjoy something, don't be distracted because something else looks more profitable. If you're really enjoying a certain niche and you're like, no, I really want this particular niche, but everyone's going, no, but there's more money there. Just there, go there instead. No, because if you're not going to enjoy it over there, you're never going to get those clients. You're never going to get off that energy. Whereas if you stay where you really enjoy, where you feel passionate about helping people, the energy just aligns. It's just so much more natural, because whenever you go somewhere you're not meant to be, you're never going to last, and you don't fit there. So even if you, like people say, you leave money on the table, you need to be here, here, and here. Just stick with what you and your gut know. And I think that's why learning to trust your gut and to trust your intuition is a strength that everyone needs to kind of work on, because that's where you kind of, that's where you find the strength, really.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Man, this has been such a beautiful conversation. I'm so glad that you could be on for us. I have one more question for you that maybe you can leave our listeners with. If someone listening today feels like they have no help, no time, no space, what's one thing that you want her to remember?
Oh, that's a good one, isn't it? She can rely on herself if she needs to. She's got more strength inside her than she could ever possibly imagine. She really does. She just lets the overwhelm be too front and center. It can be so overwhelming to feel alone and to compare yourself that you haven't got the grandparents, you haven't got the aunties, you haven't got this, that, and the other. And you can get in a kind of, oh, woe is me mindset. But the strongest person to help you looks at you in the mirror every single morning, and because she knows your dreams more than anybody else, and she can support you in those dreams more than anybody else. So trust in your gut. Don't let the fact that juggling motherhood can sometimes make you feel like you're always failing, because it does. Motherhood is, honestly, you will never not feel like you're failing at some point. That's just motherhood. You always feel like you should have fed them something else, or they wouldn't have got ill if they hadn't gone to that party, or whatever. You will always feel that. So put that to one side, know you're doing your best, and know that if you want more in your life than whatever it is you have now, there's no guilt in that. You're allowed to want more than just being a good mum. You're allowed to want anything you want, and you're allowed to go for it. And you don't have to wait permission from your husband or your partner or your parents or anybody else. Just do it. Even if you do it quietly in the background to start off with, just do it. Just, if you're listening to this podcast, make just one move today. Google a coach, or search on Instagram for something that you're looking for. Search if anyone else is doing what you're doing. See what's out there. Do anything. Invest in a course. Even pay for a $14 how to use Canva course. Anything that will help you in your future business. Just do one thing, because that one first step shows that you're on a path. It shows that you are going somewhere. Constantly holding back, waiting for the world to be perfect, waiting for life to be perfect, it never comes. It doesn't. It's something always comes along. So just take the step, take the messy step, throw the spaghetti at the wall. Some of it will stick, some of it won't, but at least you're throwing the spaghetti.
I couldn't have said that better myself, Karen. My goodness.
Okay, that was one of those things that came from that we were talking about before.
I love it. Alignment at its finest. That's amazing. So, I mean, this has been amazing. I'm sure everybody listening has gotten so many amazing nuggets. You might want to listen again with a notepad, because this has been amazing. If you have any questions for either of us, you can leave them below if you're watching on YouTube, or drop us a review if you're listening on the podcast. And down below, I will leave links so that you can follow Karen and her journey. Even if you're not a dog groomer, I mean, she shares business tips. She's just obviously an inspirational mom and woman.
Inspirational quotes. It's not all, I mean, it is dog grooming, but it's not all. It can apply to women, don't worry.
And then if you are a dog groomer, then obviously you want to be following her. And Karen, thank you so much for being here. This has been amazing.
Thank you so much. Really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Bye.
You're so welcome. Bye.